Ooh, happy Halloween, everybody. You know what's not scary is our next guest today on Art School Live. Welcome to Art School Live on this happy Halloween. I'm your guest host this week, Lisa Skelly. Eric Rose is traveling, and I think he's on his way back, actually, because he's got a busy week next week with Plein Air Live, and we'll talk more about that later. But my guest today, I want to share with you a couple things about Tiffanie Mang, our wonderful guest. She is a visual development artist, a gouache landscape painter, an art mentor. She recently has an article in this issue of Plein Air magazine, along with Mike Hernandez, who was my first guest of the week. And one of the artists who worked on the animated feature Loving Vincent, one of my favorite movies, where each frame of that movie was hand painted in oils. What a cool project that she got to work on. And so let's introduce Tiffanie Mang.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Tiffanie, it's so great to see your face and have
Hi,
you.
Lisa.
We worked together. We were together at Door County Plein Air this year, and we had so much fun. We went out.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah, it was really great.
Yeah.
So we're excited. What are you going to teach us today?
So today I'm going to be doing a digital demo showing how to basically create a painting and do these quick studies through simple shapes, through building up a painting through simple shapes. And it comes from my philosophy that when you have well-designed shapes in a painting, that it doesn't need to be like super complicated. It's the collaboration of big, medium, and small shapes that are well designed that create a painting that can, and it can look very abstract from close up, but from far away, you know, everything comes together. So it's kind of the exercise. I can't remember how I invented it, to be honest, but I think I was just playing around with how I start my own digital paintings.
Mm-hmm.
And I just came across the U tool. And since you brought up Mike, I know he does something similar with the U tool, but he uses a line tool in the U tool, and I'm going to be using the ellipse tool and the rectangular tool, along with a little bit of the lasso and just like a simple hard brush. So I created this exercise because I thought it was like a really simple way for people who don't know Photoshop to just kind of dive in and start painting.
Mm-hmm.
And just, you know, doing these quick sketches that can help them practice composition, choosing colors a little bit more confidently and more efficiently. Obviously, it takes practice. It sounds like an easy exercise, but it's not really. And I'll share why in a little bit when I share my screen. But yeah, hopefully the audience will kind of take away something from this on kind of how I think when I interpret when I start a painting, and I take photo reference and how I interpret that as well. So I think it'll be a really fun demo.
Okay.
Let's see how far I get. I can't.
Let's get this show started.
It's Art School Live with Eric Rose. Now, here's your host, Eric Rose.
Not Eric Rhodes, but I am Lisa Skelly, and I am really honored to be your guest host this week for Art School Live. And I'm interviewing, and Tiffanie Mang is going to be sharing with us all about painting through basic shapes. Tiffanie, take it away.
Yeah. So basically, what you see on my screen, I took this photo actually on my husband and my anniversary. We went to Hood River, and so we were just hiking around, and we took this photo on the road, and I thought, oh, it's really pretty. So I just did actually a quick paint over on Photoshop. That's the beauty of Photoshop. You can, you know, edit the photo. I think Mike talked a little bit about that in the last demo. And I used, you know, just some levels. Won't go too much into that, but just to play around with some shadows a little bit more. And just to talk a little bit about maybe why I chose this photo compositionally. I really liked what first drew me to take this photo was I love the rolling farmlands, and I also really liked that bright accent of the farm, the roof of the farm. And I wanted to kind of open up the space and kind of have your eye weave through, which is why I painted on top, because before it was actually a little bit cut up there. And so I just wanted to see if we can just open it up. And this is just a really quick paint over. It doesn't have to be detailed, because I know, what I mean to do. And so it doesn't have to be super realistic, but just to give me an idea of, okay, how would that look if it cut through. And what I like to do is I also like to put grids on top. And this is something I teach as well, where using grid, actually, sorry, let me just make this bigger. Using grids can really help you think about the intentionality of your design a little bit more. And so I use the diamond grid, the rule of thirds grid. The diamond is the blue one, and the rule of thirds grid, and the centerline grid, which is the orange one. I'm not going to go over how to draw them. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
What's the orange one called?
Centerline grid. Yeah.
Centerline grid. Okay.
Yeah, it's something my mentor taught me, and actually a lot of the masters use as well. Like 𝗕𝗀𝗶𝗶𝗰, you'll see this grid on his paintings and things like this. And so what this tells me is that I want to keep kind of the most important aspects within the diamond. And so I want to make sure like my house is within the diamond, because that's really where your eye is going to focus on. And other supporting elements like this bush right here is just outside. So I know that maybe I can like nudge the house a little bit over, just maybe, there's so many ways I could do this, but I could duplicate this, merge it, and I could just even select this and nudge it over like that and move that over so that it's within that. I want to make sure that maybe this tree line is hitting, for example, comes out from that corner right there and hits this rule of thirds here. So we have a nice sort of diagonal going on here. There's this tree line right here that is just above the center line. So now we have this nice offset where your eye can sort of travel through. Oh, choosing all the wrong colors, am I? They all blend in. Let me do this.
Is it possible to enlarge that image on the screen so we can?
Yeah, I can make it a little bigger. I can just zoom in like that.
Yeah, that's much better. We can see what you're doing, because it's really tiny on there.
Yeah. And then, I'm hoping that the eye can follow through here, hit this corner, and then kind of follow through here. And then, sorry, I have a tendency to zoom out all the time because I paint very small, like just to see the whole picture. So I'm going to keep doing that. Sorry if that's annoying, guys. And then here, I'm really just treating this whole blue part, this whole area, as really it's going to be like a giant mass of these beautiful, cool blue temperatures interspersed with, these trees in the back. So really it's already a bunch of beautiful abstract shapes to me. So if I turn off the grid and I turn off these lines, I'm already thinking, did I just draw? Oh no. I'm already thinking about, how I can tackle this with big, medium, and small shapes. And so, also thinking where the areas of highest contrast is, and really, all these shapes to me, I'm not looking at these as individual trees, like this is a tree, this is a tree, maybe that's a tree, that's a tree. I'm really looking at them in terms of masses first, and then breaking up those masses with smaller shapes of light and shadow. So that's basically the approach. Actually, I would say this whole thing is a mass right here. And the exercise that I'll show you guys really helps with that outlook, that mindset when you approach a painting. Because as you see, when I block in, I'm going to start with big to small. And because I'm limiting myself to just a few tools on Photoshop, I like to say I have more freedom with limitation, because I have to make the tools that I have work for me. And so I have to be a little bit more creative in that sense. I'm just going to
So
pull up.
you take this out on location with you, a little iPad or something when you're digitally painting, or you're trying to get color notes, or just the shapes of something? Do you take?
I really am just taking just the shapes. Like some of my favorite paintings I've done on site is stuff that it just looks so abstract. Like it just, I can pull, I'm trying to, I should have pulled this up earlier, but no, my brain isn't working. So where's, oh, no, it's not. Oh, there you go. So for example, like these are some, oops, actually, yeah. These are some studies I did with the exact tools I did. These are master studies. And then some similar ones I've done. Well, I mentioned actually offline, I did like I do plein air studies and stuff. And so some plein air studies, I love to do them on Infinite Painter. And let me see if I can pull up some from Australia. And it's kind of similar with that. Like these are some plein air studies, and they look like this one. I remember it was like so abstract. The shapes aren't great, but I just thought, I was like, oh, I'm going to stop there. So I felt like I captured whatever those color notes were in the distance. It was like the city and water. I mean, now they're a little bit messy when I look at them, but it was like these boats and this kind of green neon light. And I thought, oh, they're just really quick. Like I just stood out there and I just tried to capture the color notes. And I mean, it looks like,
there we go.
Super abstract up close, but somehow I find that when you just put the right amount of shapes and then your values are more or less working, it can miraculously read from far away. And that's what I'm always fascinated with. I would say that's what draws me to other paintings when they're kind of like that, like there's just a mirage of well-balanced texture and shapes and edges and all this stuff. So yeah, that's these are done on Infinite Painter, which, by the way, it's a great app for painting plein air. And I do a bunch of these thumbnail paintings when I'm on site. Yeah.
And do you use it when you're painting on Infinite Painter? Are you using something that mimics gouache, because they look like gouache paintings already?
Yeah, I have some brushes that I'm using the smudge brush, so that can help a little bit. And then there's a brush that I really like, which is the grunge fill tool. And that basically, if you just drag any shape, like if I just did this, it would fill that shape in for you, but with a little bit of a texture. Right. So I think that's what's mimicking that. So that's how I get some of the texture, like you see. I also tone my canvas this dark red, so that's just what some of the stuff peeking through is, like right there. And I usually like to leave some of that. And so yeah, these were all done in Australia when I taught a workshop there with Leon Holmes, and it was fun. These weren't easy, but Australia is a hard place to capture, but it's just I'm always just capturing color notes. Like I'm not usually going for super realistic detail, because quite frankly, you don't have time. And I guess this would be kind of that equivalent, but on Photoshop, because Photoshop, I mean, I don't have Photoshop on my iPad. It's more of a desktop app. So Lisa mentioned that I work in visual development and animation. Yeah, I work at Sony right now. And so Photoshop is the standard for all studios where you do, all your artwork for the movies that you're on and shows. And so I am on Photoshop right now, but I use Infinite Painter, Heavy Paint, and Procreate on site, because those apps you can download on your iPad. Yeah. So
how can somebody, Tiffanie, use these principles that you're sharing with us today with a regular sketch pad? Like, how do they translate if they're not digitally like tech savvy and they want to apply these principles and go out and capture color notes or capture big shapes, abstract shapes, and just capture it quickly?
I would say if you don't have the U tool on, whatever sketchpad you're using or app, I would say finding a brush that lets you have like big strokes, which most apps will have, like just letting, like you can put down these big broad strokes. I think that's going to be the key. So instead of I think it's more of I think honestly, besides the brushes that you use, it's more of the mindset going into a painting, like starting from big to small, I think is so important. So I think if you have just a simple like hard round, like this is what I use half the time. I think most brush packs will always have this simple hard round, and they're usually come with something that's quite graphic, whether that, it's like a big boxy brush. And so I think when you have those two tools, you can really quickly start carving out shapes, and you can apply that to, use that concept with any painting app that you use. I hope that answered the question. Maybe if I start painting, it'll make a little bit more sense. And so the reason why I'm just going to throw down some shapes, but my idea is that I brought up a Leyendecker painting. Actually, let's just make this bigger, because Leyendecker, I think, is a really great artist to study clean, beautiful shapes. So if you look at his paintings right here, like it feels so complex, but he actually has such a beautiful, like, methodical way of approach. Oh, this is so low res that I can't even draw on it. All his folds are so well designed with CSI shapes, which stands for C curves, S curves, and straights. And so if you look at, the silhouette, it's very clean, right? Like lots of angles. So the silhouette, starting from the silhouette, is already very well designed. Within those silhouettes, he has these beautiful shapes of folds that you can literally trace, even in his face as well. Sorry, this one's so low res. Let me see if I can.
It looks pretty good on here.
Oh, does it? Okay. I actually...
I love it that you're showing it bigger, because with my old eyes and your young eyes, I think it's a lot better when it's far.
Yeah, no, I figured it'd be good to zoom in. I'll open up one more, because I actually took these photos at the Hagen Museum, so it might be much more high res. Yeah, that's better. But here you can see, even in the face, right? The nose is, let me pick a color. Like that shape is very clear, and he has the curvature of the cheek. This rim light right here is a very distinct shape. And so I think people in animation and fine art like to study him a lot, because I think of his well-designed shapes. Like look at this fold right here. And so I got this term from Steven Silver. He's a great character designer in animation. He says, the difference between like this, right, very clean shapes, versus something like that shape, which when you look at it, it's like looks like mush kind of. He called that road mapping, and I find that really helpful to remember. You want to avoid road mapping even when you're interpreting a photo. You want to, I always like to say, as artists, right, we're not, like if I go back to the reference, we're not copying, we're translating. So even here, in this photo here, I mean, if I just show you the original here, it would be so easy to just be like, oh my gosh, I have to paint the tree exactly the silhouette. And then you start doing this. Yeah. Those shapes aren't going to translate well at all, right? And so what I like to teach students is find the gesture, right? Once you get good at this, you won't stress, and they'll be a lot faster. In fact, this would be a straight right here. And I'm just confidently finding those clean silhouette shapes with straights or curves, right? It could be a shallow curve like this. This mountain could be a straight, then a slight curve, and then a straight, or maybe that's a curve, and then maybe, like that. And so that's what Mike does. That's what a lot of painters do, that they have that really nice graphic sense. They're already doing this innately. And that would be the starting point, I think, no matter what app you're using. I think starting from this mindset is really important. So like curve, but making sure not to do this, right? Like equal scales. It's about varying those shapes and, and doing that. And so I'm thinking about that already. If I were to take this painting and and start it. And so that's why I came up with this, because with the this tool right here, so this is the U tool. You can see it says U, 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 U. They're all, and within this tool, you have the rectangle, the ellipse, and the line. I don't really use the triangle or the polygon.
Oh, I don't think we can see that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we can see your images on there, but we can't see the tools that you're pointing to.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's okay. So you're using a U tool. And so,
okay, that's okay. So, but you can see me putting a shape there. Okay, so I'll just describe it. If you're new to Photoshop, it'll actually walk you through all the tools. So just, oh, but you can't see the colors I'm choosing. That's so weird.
No, we can't.
Oh.
We can just see, you can just describe it though, if you want to.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I guess it'll be a mystery, but I'll try to describe it. So basically with the U tool, you have the rectangle, and then you have the circle. And so I believe that's a terrible color. Let me do something darker. It's like electric. And so what I do is I believe that by carving and being able to, like, I work all in one layer. So I'm just carving into my shapes. I can create, I'm going back to ellipse now. I can create all the shapes that I need from these basic shapes. And then with the hard brush tool, which is just a simple round brush, I can finesse my shapes a little bit more, maybe add a curve, cut in, and et cetera, and just kind of cut in a little bit more with a little more freedom. So that's basically what I'm going to show. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'm going to, sorry, I'm going to actually zoom out a little bit if you don't mind, just so I can get the quick sketch of my painting. So I'm just going to do some quick horizontals, and I'm going to just quickly, that's about my center line. So I'm just going to plan out where the house would be. Always start out with the line drawing, because even though I'm a shape person, composition is just so important. I want to make sure I'm not guessing around with that. So starting off with the line drawing, I think, is integral to planning out your composition, especially because I'm not actually very good at vistas, and I tend to just like cram things too much sometimes. So I definitely need to plan, figure out, that's my big mountain. Actually, we can lower that a little bit. So and I'm even thinking about big shapes starting from the sketch. So here.
So she's going to, so to our audience, she's going to enlarge this after she gets her sketch in there, and that we can see a little bit better what she's doing. But right now she's just getting this line drawing in.
Yeah. So I think that if that's okay, let me just move this down a little bit, and then, so the references, I actually think it's really important to look at the reference smaller, and because you don't want to get caught up in the details. So I have the sketch. So I'm just going to, I wonder if I should work on top or below. Maybe I'll work on below for now. So I'm going to start off with the U tool, start blocking some main things in. So, oh, it's really, is it not possible to reshare and see again? It's so sad that they can't see the color.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah, we can't see your brush tools or your colors until you draw on the.
You know what I think it has to be? I think I have to share my entire screen.
You want to try that?
Yeah, is that possible, or is that not possible?
Will let us. We don't have to be in the shot. We would rather see what you're working on.
Oh, no, you wouldn't be. I would just share my Cintiq screen, I think.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. We can try it.
I don't know.
We would love it if it works, but if it works pretty quickly.
Yeah. Let me, oops, what did I just do? Do you mind if I stop my screen really quick?
Sure. No, that's okay.
Okay, sorry, guys.
While you're doing that, I'm just going to say hi to everybody, because we've got people from all over the world joining us today. So I want to have a little bit of, I always love saying hi to everybody from Tulsa, Oklahoma, North Carolina, Montana, Jacksonville, Vancouver, and happy Halloween back to you, Karen, Maryland, and Atlanta. Oh my goodness, look at this. We got Florida, Georgia, Houston, and I know we have, we got Ontario, Canada, Arizona.
Wow.
I know, look at it's, everybody's checking in from all over the country and all
Hi,
over.
everyone.
There's somebody from Oregon, so they are probably familiar with this scene. And oh wow, we can see now. We can see all.
Yeah, it works. So I'm very happy. Okay, so now I was saying, here's the U tool right here. It's right below the T, and I'm using the rectangle and the ellipse tool. And so basically with these two tools, and I like to use the 𝗕𝗂𝗶𝗰, which is right here, I'm going to start just, it's going to look like blobby shapes right from the beginning. It's going to feel quite abstract. And so I'm going to use my my big flat brush to just cover in shapes a little bit faster. But I think with the trees, I don't usually work from background to foreground, so that's quite interesting. I'm doing everything on one layer. So I have my line drawing here, and then I'm going to turn it off soon, but I just wanted to rely on it a little bit more to, let me move this around. Very happy that it works now, because now they can see what colors I'm choosing. I'm going to just block in. That's totally the wrong value, and it's too saturated. So you can see that when I put down these shapes, I'm not trying to create a pixel painting, by the way. That's not what I'm trying to create. And that's often what can happen if you're not mindful of the shapes that you're putting down. It can start to look like a pixel painting. By that, I mean, you're starting to do this. And picking up, you're trying to like pick up on every detail. And that's not the point of this exercise. That's why this exercise is actually tricky. So it tests your ability to be able to balance the proportion of your shapes well. And a painting that does that well shouldn't feel like that. It should actually have this kind of complexity. I'm going to make that a little bit darker, and this blue a little bit warmer as we get into the foreground a little bit. So I'm just putting down that, and I'm going to now block in big. So notice how I'm dragging. So basically this rectangular tool right here, I can drag. I'm just going to make some random shapes. I can drag it any long, straight, blah, blah, blah. The only downside is that you can't rotate it, which pisses me off. And it would be really off. So that's what the line tool does. But the line tool, it's annoying because then I have to adjust the weight, and I find that kind of cumbersome. So the line tool, it's like you can do that. And that's what Mike does. And so I might just switch to the line tool from time to time, because it is nice. You can't, with the line tool, you see you can rotate it any which way, which is nice.
Yeah.
So that's all under the U tool, guys. Right here, rectangle, ellipse, and line. I don't use triangle, polygon. I find that I don't need those too much. I just like to, again, stick with the basic shapes. I think
I actually painted here when I went up to
oh, really?
Pacific Northwest plein air thing, the Columbia.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's really beautiful there.
So beautiful.
Yeah, really beautiful. And you can see here, I'm just trying to get some variation in my color temperatures. Well, I'm trying to find, while it's talking, finding the right temperature, if it's too warm, like the right temperature of the green. In some places, I'm aware that there's some yellow leaves. I haven't added that in yet, but I'm going to stick with the line tool. I like the line tool, so I'm going to just block that in. I'm keeping it fairly big. So if you hover over the weight, you drag to the right, that makes it bigger. If you drag it to the left, that makes it smaller. So you adjust essentially the size of your brush that way. And I'm just going to block in a little bit there. These are all pretty much the same value. And so maybe what I'll do is I'm going to switch to the U tool, circle, and I'm just going to drag a few of these circular shapes. There's so many ways you can approach this. Like I could have even just taken actually, I'm going to do this. So I'm going to paint the ground now. I'm just going to drag big swaths of color. That's too cool. Greens need to be warmer as they come to the foreground. So now I'm just adjusting, dragging my green to the warmer yellow greens here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to drag, right? And I have not, the whole point of this exercise is like, I'm basically just using basic shapes. That's what I'm trying to iterate. I'm not using any fancy textured foliage brushes. I'm just sticking, make this even warmer in the foreground. Let's see how that feels. That might start to feel a little dead, but we'll just play around with that. Here with this giant bush, I'll just go back to the lips. I'll just drag a big circle right here and just drag, pick the wrong color. And I'm color picking. So basically if I hold down Option, I can color pick colors that I've already put on. Mm-hmm. So that just makes it easier once I start blocking things in. Here, what I like to do sometimes, I like to call them, let's turn off my line now. So I like to call them like like ground holes. So here I'm going to start like just grouping shapes even more, but I'm going to start popping in some ground holes here. And
it's just the opposite of sky holes, but it's just
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I totally forgot my house. How did I ever do that? Okay, hold on. My road might get in the way. Okay, so for the house, I am going to that's really bad of me because that's my lightest light. So I'm just going to actually use the lasso tool, and I'm going to just make sure we have that right there. And then there's some houses behind it that to me are just like abstract shapes. Here's a house right there. I could even put this house here, and then I could cut into it in perspective. Mm-hmm. Right. So there's like that house right there. I would encourage people to get used to working small because I think you're going to see a lot of things that way. It's funny. A lot of artists I talk to, they don't zoom in a lot more because it just helps them see the big picture. Mm-hmm. So I'm sorry, guys, if I'll see if I can zoom in a little bit more. But for now, for the big picture, it's so important to just zoom out and make sure that I'm capturing everything as a whole. So here I'm going to put in I'm actually just going to put in a darker value there. And I really feel like I could go, trying to really just find the right temperature. If I should go maybe really warm, like a warm viridian maybe. And I have a navigator that I'm looking at. So actually I'll bring that over here. It's on my other screen, but I'll bring it in. So I keep looking at this because this tells me how everything is working. And it's obviously still, what are you going to say?
I said, it's just, you're trying to see how everything is relating to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. Exactly. So that's basically the equivalent of stepping aside and
what I'm trying to see when you're doing this is how I would do this if I was painting in gouache and I was getting a small color note study or a little sketch to take back into the studio. And I would be doing this in paint on location, but simplifying my shapes,
right?
Finding those color notes. And because I don't have this application, and I also am more old school on just taking out my paints, but it still applies whether you're doing it digitally or if you're doing it with real paint live on location. You're still trying those simple shapes, the design. You're trying to design with simple shapes. And
it's really, you got it. It's really all about design, really. Like this, I find that this exercise really tests if you can design, because it's really easy just to put way too many shapes down. And I mean, like I'm still in the bare bones of figuring. I'm still my blocking interface. So I honestly haven't even like designed yet. I'm kind of I'm kind of thinking about design as I'm cutting into my shapes. But it's kind of, you kind of do it all at once. Like here, I really want to, there's so many ways I could do this. My Rode mic is actually kind of blocking me. But here I've kind of, I'm going to use, actually I'll go back to the line tool, and I'm going to decrease the thickness a little bit. I want to just start, I find atmosphere stuff really tricky to do. So I'm going to just block in some, oh, that's wrong. Need to find that perfect kind of baby blue. Block in, that's too dark.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to find the right value, really. And just what I find helpful is that I can block in like a big, like what I'll do sometimes, and I do this in like all the stuff applies to gouache directly, because this is actually what I'll do in gouache is I'll block in like all, like this represents the trees and stuff you see in the back. And so I'll just kind of block in. And what is cool about the U tool is that it allows me to get the gesture, the diagonal aspect of everything quite quickly. So I don't have, so I'm already getting the directionality. And then
about 15 minutes left.
Oh, 15 minutes. Okay, that passed by really fast. And then what I'll do is I'll take like basically again popping. It needs to be even grayer. I'm just trying to find the right. And then I'll just start popping in and finding these abstract. We'll see how well I can do this. Finding these abstract shapes, like basically popping in. Oops, I just hit my mic. And this part is designed for me because it can be very easy to create these repeating verticals. And then what sells it is that you can now take the color before, and I'm kind of doing that already, and kind of now overlap and now cut into some of those shapes. Maybe I want now to cut into that a little bit. Actually, I don't like, I'm going to take away that a little bit. And then maybe I can take my hard brush, which gives me a little bit of that looseness, that curve, the, what do you call it? The more organicness, I guess. And I can kind of cut into those shapes as well. But the whole time, I'm not thinking about, oh, that's a tree and this is a tree. I'm thinking about the relationship of my shapes to each other. And so I think that's the really powerful aspect. I have too much yellow peeking through. So now I'm going to just pop the liveliness of the green just a little bit more. So I'm using my hard brush, just kind of, it's like a drawing. So the hard brush to me is very much like a drawing brush, like a pencil, but almost like a marker where I can just put in these nice, thick kind of shapes. And again, any brush could have these. So like if you went out and you just had this hard brush, you could create a painting. I actually love just using the hard brush because that limitation is just
keeps it simple.
Awesome. It keeps it simple. I'm just such a fan of simple because I hate searching for brushes when I'm out in the field. Like I don't know if you guys know, but I started off with just a hard brush when I did gouache painting. Sorry, just a flat brush when I did gouache painting. And then I remember when Mike gifted me a round brush, I was like, I don't know how to use this brush. And I just didn't use it for a long time. And then it wasn't until a little bit later that I realized, okay, I see now the hard brush, you kind of, you bring back that looseness a little bit from the graphicness of the hard brush. And so really my sensibilities, I just go back and forth with those two brushes and variations of that.
Yeah.
And build up a painting that way. So now I can use the hard brush. I can sort of now cut into my shapes a little bit more. Vary maybe some of the, let me push this blue.
You mentioned earlier, Tiffanie, that you like to have varying shapes in your paintings? You have to remember when you're designing to have small, medium, large shapes in your design. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? And
yeah, so for example, right now I'm looking, and I mean, actually, to be honest, it's on my ground plane. So all these shapes right here, they're all kind of distracting. So I need to fill those in a little bit. But what I mean by that is I do have a lot of shapes here, but they're all within similar enough value that hopefully they're not too distracting. So to me, this counts as like
one shape,
like maybe a mass. Yeah, one shape. And then within that, I have smaller shapes, but I'm making sure that they don't become too distracting. And I'm really using the main shapes. Oops, I accidentally just painted with that same layer. And then here, for example, every shape, like I count this as a shape, this is a shape, like even every little like dot by itself, that can really easily become distracting. So as I'm painting, I'm making sure that if they don't serve the painting, that I'm just grouping when I need to, and just kind of going back and forth. And that takes time. Like that doesn't, sometimes I don't see all of that right away. It takes time for me to kind of realize, oh, like this shape isn't serving my painting. So let me just group that into the bigger mass and kind of recalibrate a little bit that way. Sorry, I need to look at my.
Well, it's reading really well with the darker, warmer colors in the foreground and the cooler, lighter colors in the distance. So it is reading pretty well. Is it possible to zoom in a little bit?
Yeah. So we can start zooming in, and I'm just going to, there's still some composition. The thing is I can zoom in, but then I'm going to keep looking at my navigator. So then that will help me sort of not, what I need to do is start covering a lot of that yellow tone, which becomes a little bit distracting. And this is the part I would say, because we have a shorter demo, it's like I'm just entering into that phase where I need to slow down and start thinking about like everything as a whole. So I've like gotten a really quick block in, and then now is kind of that hard part where
you're finessing it.
Yeah, it's gonna start into that finessing, and I don't think we'll get into that, but I can still talk about that a little bit. That's the part that where I say you're marinating and you're painting a little bit. And
I think it'll be fun for you to share like major concepts or big concepts for us to take away from your what you're sharing with us today. So if there's anything that you want, you would say that would encompass what you're trying to share today in small sound bites for us to take away and practice.
Yeah, I think the biggest concept is, oops, what happened? Sometimes this pops up. The biggest concept is thinking from big to small. I think that's the biggest thing. So I was blocking in everything together. And I think the second biggest concept is leaning back on the simplicity of CSI shapes to create all your other shapes. Yeah. So
the curve, the C curve, the straight, and the
C curve, straight. Yeah. So basically you can essentially create any shape with that. So it's like C curve, S curve, straight, straight, straight. That's a shape, right? And straight, 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 that would be like something like a box. But that would be the opposite. Like the messy version of a shape would be something like, if you're just, it's like road mapping, right? It looks like a map. That shape, the reason why paintings read so well from far away, like certain paintings, is because when you look up close, the shapes are quite simple. Like they're very graphic, and they're very readable, and therefore the brain can digest them easier. So CSI is just an acronym for, just remember, C curves, S curves, and straights. And with this tool right here, I'm relying on the ellipse gives me the curves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So actually, let me just merge everything. And then ellipse gives me the curves. And then I can, so now I can kind of get the silhouette of that. I can cut into that silhouette if I wanted to. And then the rectangle gives me those straights. So if I wanted to do something like this, I could, that was the polygon tool. I could drag and just basically get a straight now with that silhouette, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can get something a little bit more blocky. And so that's the big concept, I think, behind this exercise, is to remember how you can build up a painting really from the basic shapes that we know, right? Circle, rectangle, ellipses, all that fun stuff. So that's the underlying concept, I would say. Oh, I keep picking the wrong thing. And so here, basically, the line tool is you're playing with diagonals as well, with rotating rectangles. And I think I was reading this book, The Guide to Landscape Painting by 𝗕𝗀𝗶𝗶𝗶, I think that's his name. And he said that painting should be 80% masses and 20% detail. And so I think that's another underlying concept that this exercise practices, right? Because if we're to use, I have a lot of brushes here, but I haven't even played with texture yet, but it's really easy to start kind of going in, and it's really easy to start kind of like trying to paint every leaf, and then you start doing this, okay?
Yeah.
And you start doing this,
Mm-hmm.
and then it might up close. That's why I don't zoom in, because up close, it's like, oh yeah, I'm doing the right thing. And you start doing this everywhere. I'm ruining, I should have done this on a new layer, but if you do it on a new layer, then I can just delete it, and you adding all these shapes. And that looks okay because I've only done it in certain places, but do that everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts to feel like everything has the same amount of
weight.
Yes, thank you. And then nothing in your painting feels special. So as I am finessing, what I will do is I will actually go in and I'll be like, okay, which areas could lend that special small shapes? And I will do that. I actually will assess like how where I can add those tiny, I like to call them accent shapes. So where I can add those accent shapes, and they're usually smaller, and they'll feel very special amongst these bigger shapes that you've put on. It's like all those small accent shapes that can now start reading as like, oh, these special like fall trees. And they're small, and I put them in and I'll carve it. So if you notice, I do this and I'll put that shape. That's kind of like a blobby shape. So I'll like cut into it and I'll cut into it. And now that is a cleaner shape. So I'll never really leave a shape as it is. I'm usually just trying to think about how I can, just essentially clean it up a little bit. Maybe here I'm always using my background, foreground, whatever, to cut into everything. I never paint on multiple layers because as traditional artists, we don't really have that. So I've taken that sensibility from the traditional world into my digital world, where I'm just a lot more used to.
So you're making this not scary. We're on Halloween, and look at Tiffany's making this all not scary at all. And we've got a couple minutes, Tiffany, and 𝗕𝗀𝗃𝗃 actually just put something in the chat that kind of
hi Deborah,
simplifies everything we're saying. And simplicity is the ultimate sophistication by Leonardo da Vinci.
Yes, I love that. That's beautiful.
I love that.
Thank you, Deborah.
Sharing that.
That basically sums up. Oops. I neglected my house because I was but I would, the power of overlap as well, I think is really important. Sorry, I could just talk on and on, so you need to tell me to be quiet.
Well, we're just about to wrap it up, Tiffany. So we'd love to see you back on screen. And
okay, cool. Yeah, you can't see me right now?
really great. Can you enlarge real quick though for
Yeah,
everybody?
yeah.
This
Let me
we can see
do something like that.
what you've
So,
accomplished today. Oh my gosh, look at that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's got the bones, and I'll, work afterwards and touch it up a little bit more. But hopefully, you guys got to see the, how I block in a painting, essentially.
That's great. Awesome. Thank you so much, Tiffanie. This has been really a lot packed into a short amount of time.
That wasn't too much.
See, I told you it goes by really fast.
It does go by fast. Yeah, I helped. Yeah.
We really appreciate everything that you shared with us today. And if you guys want to see more of Tiffanie Mang's paintings and learn more about Tiffanie, I also have your little book, tiny. I say little book because it's all your little.
Thank you.
And I have one of your paintings too that you did.
Yes, you do. You have one of my favorites from.
That's on it's the first painting on that page on your website. That's all your gouache paintings or your plein air paintings.
Yeah.
Beautiful painting. I get to see it every day.
Aww,
so go to 𝗕Faniemang.com. So you spell her name TIFFANIE Mang.com and follow her on Instagram at Tiffanie Mang Art. Tiffanie, do you have anything coming up, like workshops or anything like that you want to share with people?
Let me see. I have courses on my site. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I do have. They're just on-demand courses. If you guys are curious about learning about the essentials of painting, I do have a course called Essentials of Painting. I don't have any planned workshops. I might have one with Modern Impressionism coming soon, but we have to have haven't situated a date on that. Other than that,
about all of that on your website, you have it all up to date, and we can share your website at Tiffaniemang.com. And if you want to learn more about studying with Tiffanie and see more of her art, go to Tiffaniemang.com. And Tiffanie, thank you so much for being our guest on Halloween. And
thank you so much.
Sharing all of this wonderful content with us. We are so grateful for you. And
grateful for you.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being here. All right.
Thank you guys.
I want to share with you all too that we have a free gift for you today. 97 incredible art secrets. Go to 97artsecrets.com/ASL. So also, if you haven't signed up for Plein Air Live, it's next week. So you still have a few more days to jump in on that awesome adventure into the Plein Air Live with, I think Eric's going to be there actually too. And there's a whole lineup of amazing artists, and it's November 6th through 8th. Essential Techniques Day is on November 5th, and 3 days to fast track your journey to outdoor painting. Sign up at pleinairlive.com. Let's watch this short video.
Every artist knows the frustration. You want to grow, to break through, to see your paintings come alive. But too often you're painting alone, stuck in the same routines, not knowing what's missing. Photos lie, books only go so far, and it can feel like the true secrets of painting are locked away. But what if, in just 3 days, you could watch the world's top plein air and landscape painters, brush in hand, showing you every step of their process? What if you could ask your questions and learn the techniques it took them decades to master without ever leaving home? This November, join us for Plein Air Live, the world's largest online painting conference. You'll learn from legends like Kevin McPherson, Cindy Barron, Kathleen Hudson, Cami Medlick, Bill Davidson, Mike Hernandez, and dozens more hand-picked masters. Across 3 days, plus an optional Essential Techniques Day for a guided refresher, you'll watch demonstrations, join interactive breakout rooms, and even paint along in evening sessions with new friends from around the globe. This kind of lineup will never happen again. You could spend tens of thousands traveling to workshops and still never gather this much talent in one place. But at Plein Air Live, it all comes to you. Don't miss your chance to grow, to connect, and to be inspired. Join us at Plein Air Live, November 6th through 8th, 2025.
So everyone, don't forget to subscribe to this channel at Art School Live on YouTube and at Eric Rhodes, RHOADS on Instagram. And also don't forget to visit my website. I'm really sad this is my last day and I've had so much fun sharing all this content. I've learned a ton. I hope you did too. My website is 𝗕𝘀𝗶𝗂𝗵.com and my Instagram is at 𝗕𝘀𝗶𝗂𝗵. Also, I'm the co-host of the Pastel podcast with 𝗕𝘀𝗶𝗀𝗵 and would love for you to join if you want to learn more about the world of pastel and how colorful and vibrant it is. Carrie and I are passionate about pastel, and we have some wonderful guests. We come out once a month with a new podcast. You can watch it or listen to it on Spotify and watch it on YouTube. And we have so much fun sharing the world of pastel painting with everybody who's interested. So make sure to check that out. And also next week, you have an amazing guest host, and her name is Kathleen Hudson, and she's got a great lineup for you. And as always, it's been such a pleasure sharing with you and being with you and all of the wonderful people that tune in and watch Art School Live. So thank you for letting me be your guest host, Eric, and I'm Dean and everybody at Streamline Publishing. I've loved it. So invite me back. Happy painting, everybody, and happy Halloween. Stay safe out there.